Welcome back to NewsMakers. On the panel, Jennie Moreton, Andrew Holden and Roger Sutton. It's a fundraiser that has caused quite a fuss. Peace Movement Aotearoa's White Poppy Day, which was scheduled for yesterday on the eve of Red Poppy Appeal Day, which of course is today. The Veteran Affairs Minister Judith Collins has slammed the White Poppy appeal as, quote, incredibly disrespectful, and the people behind it should be ashamed. And the Wellington City Councillor John Morrison said that the White Poppy appeal people should be kicked off the streets. Let's go for it. Jennie, what do you make of this?
Well, it's obviously a highly emotive issue. Poor form is, I think, the appropriate term here. You know, don't I don't know, get on the back of the Red Poppy Day. We're all huge supporters of Red Poppy Day, and I think it's, you know, obviously gained a lot in momentum over recent years, as has the Anzac Day celebrations. And don't try and piggyback onto the back of that to raise money for another charity. People will give money to charity. People are generous. You don't need to do it the day before the Red Poppy appeal. Do
you think it was deliberately opportunist, the timing of this?
Oh, absolutely. There's no question about it. It got them great publicity, although arguably it ended up being very negative publicity. I mean, I think if you want a day to do world peace and something like that, do an anniversary of Hiroshima or Nagasaki, something like that, where, you know, which highlighted the absolute horrific cruelty, you know, as they all do, but particularly of the death of civilians. That would be the time to do a campaign like this.
I've often wondered why we don't do a huge amount on Armistice Day. Perhaps the White Poppy Brigade could circle around November 11. Possibly.
I'm not sure these guys actually exist. I've no one's offered to sell me one of these white poppies. I think it's just a big fraud. I would say though, just within that topic though, the whole when we celebrate different things, why do we move Guy Fawkes Day? This is complete out of the Guy Fawkes Day to the middle of winter when we sank the Rainbow, or when they sank the Rainbow Warrior. Why do we do Guy Fawkes then instead? How about that for a sort of?
And then our children.
It's sort of a peace topic, isn't it? Sorry.
But then our children could stay up and watch the fireworks. I know. You know, the people who'd enjoy it the most.
I thought you guys wanted to reenact the sinking of the blowing up of a boat. I was getting thoroughly confused there, Roger.
By the way, I am delighted to report that the Royal New Zealand Air Force 757 has just landed in Turkey. I think it took 79 stopovers to get from Whenuapai to Istanbul.
And for once it wasn't its own fault.
Exactly. Exactly. We'll come to your plugs and pokes of the week. Heroes and villains, who deserves a shot or two? Mr. Sutton.
I was going to give a plug to Sam Morgan for talking about the tax stuff. You know, the last Labor government did some various liberal things where, you know, that I think had some really positive outcomes. And I think we'd like to think this sort of more conservative national government, we can have some courage around the tax stuff. And so far they're not showing a whole lot of tax courage around that. I think it's great, Sam, talking about the tax issue.
Although the Inland Revenue have probably set up a whole division devoted to him now, haven't they?
Well, they may have, but that whole point that we really tax earnings really hard, and we don't actually, the whole property thing, we don't tax property speculation. I think that's just crazy.
Okay.
A poke?
Yes.
The Professional Firefighters Union, over stopping their members who are volunteers at Sumner being volunteers at Sumner. You know, firefighters do a great job, they have a great brand out there, but at the end of the day, they've shown themselves to be rather less concerned with public safety than perhaps looking after their own interests. Very good.
30 seconds, Jennie. Who's on your list?
I have a poke for the young woman who dressed up as a stormtrooper to graduate. Now, at the risk of sounding like an old person, yes, Roger, it's disrespectful to Star Wars, but I also think it's disrespectful to the institution and to her fellow graduands, is that the correct term? I think that that she had graduated several times in the past.
Yes.
She chose to dress up because this was her last time that she would be graduating.
Yes.
All those other people around her weren't in that position. Show some respect. Sorry.
Andrew.
My pokes to Murray McCulley for approving the Myanmar business where we're paying for their officials to come here and learn English. I think that's appalling. My credit, if I can be thoroughly pluggish and selfish, to Mike Crane and the press graphics people who did the Anzac posters this week. I did a fantastic job, and the response has been overwhelmingly positive, so it's been great to hear.
Good stuff. Now to the pick of the week, and this image was snapped from the barracks of the Turkmenistan National Army. Apparently they've had some cutbacks. And you thought this photo was from Burnham, didn't you? Shame on you. To the Newsmakers poll, last week's question, would the resumption of US Navy ship visits to New Zealand be desirable? 59% of you said yes, 41% said no thanks. Prize winner S. Trent. This week's question, actually this is probably a shameless no-brainer, is Peace Movement Aotearoa's White Poppy fundraising campaign ill-timed? Yes or no? I'm sure that's going to be right down to the wire, that one. You can vote on the email newsmakers@ctv.co.nz or on the web or the post. Cast your vote and you'll be in to win these very nice Anzac treats. Gallipoli, the definitive guidebook to the battlefield, that's just come out. So if you're planning a trip to Gallipoli in the coming years, maybe for the centenary, this is the book. And also Dame Vera Lynn, gee, she's having a bit of a comeback, isn't she, in her twilight years? This is the Wartime Favourites DVD, which you can win as well. I've got about 30 seconds on the clock. Very quickly, Therese Arsenault has been advocating lowering the voting age to 16 in the spirit of getting young people involved in all things democratic and civic. Is it a start of a 10? Would you lower the voting age to 16, Mr. Holden?
It's bizarre that we don't want them to drive, we don't want them to drink, but now we want them to vote. I'd say no.
All right. Jenny?
No, and they wouldn't vote anyway.
No. A bit like you in local body politics.
Exactly.
Roger?
No, I probably wouldn't. I don't think they have actually got enough yet.
All right, there you go. Sorry, Therese. Thank you very much to our panel, Roger Sutton, Andrew Holden and Jennie Moreton. Have a great weekend and we will remember them. Good night.